Over the years, with the help of therapy and many, many hours of work on myself that I've done and continue to do, I have been situating myself in my own skin. It's such a cliche to tell people, be your authentic self, but what does that really mean? Because in my observation of people, and it's not a judgment, it's simply an observation, and I have been there myself too in the past, I see many people not even knowing who they are or who they want to be, or they might have an idea in their head of who they want to be. I want to talk about this as it relates to comparing yourself to other people, because I certainly have a bad habit, although I'm working on it. I have a bad habit of comparing myself to other people. It's a dangerous habit simply because you are you. And I think in this social media saturated society that we live in now, especially, it can be very easy and tempting to confuse admiration with aspiration. In other words, you might see someone's life being displayed on social media. You must remember that that is a snippet and an edited version of their reality. It's a highly edited, often stylized version, which there's nothing wrong with, again. But as consumers of social media, we must be smart and know that they are presenting what they choose to present in the way that they choose to present it. Again, nothing wrong with that, but it's the knowing of that and acknowledging that that's the case is the important part. And the reason that comparing yourself to someone else is so dangerous is because you cannot have anyone else's life except your own. So rather than focusing on what someone else is doing and aspiring to be that or have that, you can admire them instead and look at the characteristics or the traits that they have, what you are admiring in them. And then you can take the steps that you may wish to enact to bring those qualities to your life if you wish to adopt. Your unique individual essence and your spirit is what you need to start celebrating. This is something that I've been practicing for a while, is celebrating my unique, awkward self. and when I say celebrating, it's difficult. I'm not going to lie. For me, at least, it's difficult because it's uncomfortable for me, and it, like I said, requires practice. But that's why I practice, because I want to nurture myself. And for me, you hear the word self-care. That self-care phrase gets thrown around so much nowadays. It becomes so trite. But for me, self-care means self-respect first. Self-care means nurturing my sense of self so that I first respect myself and value my self-worth and know my worth, so that my self-esteem is at the level to which I can walk in the world with my head held high and my shoulders back and feel that I am good and worth it. And this is what I mean by celebrating who you are, your inner essence, and carve your own path and be fully yourself. And I think the ironic part about all of this is that once you start doing this is what I have found, I have noticed. Once you start practicing this, you will realize your cultivation of your sense of self. You'll notice that other people will aspire to be like you, and they will look at your life with admiration and respect. But it starts with knowing your self-worth. I repeat that all the time, but it's because it's so important. If you don't feel that self-worth, that's okay. Start examining your inner narrative. Start examining the way you speak to yourself inside. If those words are unkind, start practicing self-compassion and building that respect for yourself. It is so important. Without that belief in yourself and your goodness, honestly, I believe that you will not be able to get unstuck, or you won't find happiness, because happiness is not something external that is to be obtained. Happiness comes from your heart inside, knowing that you are a good person, that you're a worthwhile human being, that you are capable of loving first yourself and then giving others love. These steps towards self-realization and self-actualization are so important for growth. Just the other day, my mother and I were having a conversation about someone who had passed, and I was telling my mom, I said, it's so funny. Life is both so short and so long at the same time. What you do today, the choices you make today, create consequences, and day in and day out, these choices create our lives. Each decision we make has an impact and thus unfolds life. Focus on yourself. Put your energy, effort, and time and mind on you and becoming your best self, the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. If you practice this, you will begin to see a different side of yourself and a strength come from yourself that perhaps you didn't know existed. When we compare ourselves to other people too, I think that we're basing our opinion about someone on only the things that we see. So if someone has great success, for instance, we see that great success. You see the destination, but you don't see their journey, right? You don't see the underlying pain and sacrifice, struggling, suffering, blood, sweat, and tears, discipline, effort. You don't see any of what they've endured, in other words, to get to where they are. You only see the success and the shiny, polished version. Remember and acknowledge that we all have struggles and suffering and pain and trauma. When you see somebody, don't be so quick to put them on a pedestal. It's, again, great to admire someone and respect what they have, but never aspire to be somebody other than you. You are you. Find out who you are, what you want in life, how you will go about getting the things that you want, why those things are important to you. These questions, these self-examining questions, if you've never thought about them, start thinking about them and keep a journal, write them down. Write down the things you're grateful for. Put it in writing. Look at it. Read it. Put down your goals. Write your desires and why you want those things. Write down how you might go about achieving those things. And start with small, doable steps, taking the action towards them. And remember to be kind to yourself along the way, because, and I'm always saying that, it sounds so simple, but it's really not. Some of the simplest things in life are not easy, like losing weight, for instance. It's so simple, it's not easy. I don't want anyone to get confused in thinking that what I'm trying to say is simple 1, 2, 3, mindfulness, but that is why I'm always hammering the idea of practice. And I do this as well. This is a practice for me, and it's a struggle for me each and every day. Some days are better than others, and some days are, mentally speaking, disastrous. And that's okay. I've learned to celebrate those moments as victories along my path that I learn especially profound lessons from, and that I can then use to help others and guide others, hopefully. So I will leave you with that for now. Start celebrating yourself, your unique self. And if you have to, go in front of the mirror and address yourself by name and tell yourself, I am worthy of love, I am worthy of goodness, I am worthy of respect and wonderful abundance in my life. And so it will be. It will come, because when you put the energy to those intentions, your heart will open and the willingness will allow you to receive. Don't underestimate your own inner strength. Never underestimate your inner strength. My mother is always reminding me of that in my weakest moments. She's constantly reminding me that I'm stronger than I think I am. And it seems to be true that each of us, I think, is stronger than perhaps we believe we are. So never forget that. I wish you all well. I shall see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.